Today's topic is something that I am just genuinely outraged over. I am super disheartened, and I'm kind of sick of not talking about this stuff out of fear for how people are going to respond to me discussing it, being in a thinner body. But I'm done holding back. We have to talk about everything that is wrong with treating people the way we treat people on social media and just honestly in general. This past week, Megan Fox has had a lot of publicity in terms of her cover and her spread in Swimsuit Illustrated. From there, an article came out and some videos discussing her own experience with body dysmorphia and just generally stating that she doesn't like her body. She doesn't feel comfortable in her body. Before we jump on into this topic, I want you to go down to the comment section and just let me know if you yourself, and you don't have to tell me who, but if you yourself have experienced body dysmorphia or if you've known someone who has. I want to get a good idea of how familiar people are with this disorder because it is an actual disorder. So go ahead, comment that down below. I had already seen this video before it went to social media. There is a site that I follow, Pop Culture on Instagram. They posted a blurb from that, and that is what really got me outraged. That's what got me heated and what we need to discuss today. Before we go through those comments and discuss in detail, let's first take a listen to Megan Fox and what she had to say in her interview.
I have body dysmorphia. I don't ever see myself the way other people see me. There's never a point in my life where I loved my body.
She states, I have body dysmorphia. I don't see my body the way other people see me. So right there, if you are not aware of what body dysmorphia is, that is a big piece of it. That's where I don't understand where people are confused when someone has body dysmorphia. You don't choose it. It is a mental health disorder where you truly don't see yourself the way others see you. So you can look at someone, you can think they're perfect, they have it all, they have the perfect body. All they see and perseverate on are their flaws and seeing themselves in a different light and working chronically to fix it, to fix those imperfections, to fix those flaws, to be looking in the mirror, to try to fix those things or talk negatively about themselves. It's not necessarily for attention, it's because they don't see themselves the way that they actually appear in real life.
When I was little, that was an obsession I had of but I should look this way. And why I had an awareness of my body that young, I'm not sure. And it definitely wasn't environmental because I grew up in a very religious environment where bodies weren't even acknowledged.
I think that's interesting that she acknowledges she's had this since a young age, and she isn't aware where it came from, where it started, based on the household, the environment she grew up in, but she had that focus early on. Now, could it be related to her becoming an actress early on in her career? I don't really know at what point she got into acting and things like that, but clearly there is a huge pressure in the movie world, in celebrity stardom, for women in particular, to look a certain way. So maybe somehow that was ingrained in her from an early age. I think sometimes this just happens. You don't necessarily have some type of stimulus that triggered it. It could just be something that occurred in you. It's just something that came on.
The journey of loving myself is going to be never ending, I think.
So she acknowledges at the end there that this is going to be an ongoing journey for her forever, which for many people it quite honestly is. When you have body dysmorphia, that hit home for me because I was someone with body dysmorphia at a young age, and I have an awareness of where that came from. For me personally, I was I've always been smaller, and there was this praise that I was always given, being a smaller girl, being very teeny, and I became very aware of that. For some reason, that always stood out to me, being a young kid, having that type of praise for being so teeny tiny, like it was the best thing ever. So at a young age, I learned that was just what I needed to do. That seemed to be the most important over being smart or being outgoing or anything else, being funny. It just seemed that was important. That was something I should focus in on. So for myself, I related to that experience she spoke about, being very focused on it at a young age. I personally wasn't necessarily surprised hearing this, although I can be that person looking at Megan Fox saying, I think she's goals, I think she's stunning, all the things, right? I still wasn't that shocked seeing that, being that she is someone where her body is somewhat part of her job in a way, whether you want to admit it or not. When you are a celebrity, getting roles, I think, is highly dependent on how you look, whether it's your hair, your face, how old you are, how skinny you are, how in shape you are. It all needs to fit a certain package for the types of roles you are trying to attract and trying to maintain a certain status in Hollywood. Whether you agree with it or not, it is part of that world. So I'm not shocked. There's probably way more celebrities that deal with it than actually speak about it. So in a way, for me, I saw that and I was like, good for her for actually talking about it. Then a couple days later, I followed Pop Culture on Instagram. They posted just a photo of her with the quote, I have body dysmorphia. I don't ever see myself the way other people see me. There's never a point in my life where I loved my body. Never, ever. And that's a tough statement to say out loud, honestly. And it makes me hurt for her because I was that person for a long part of my life, and I was able to get out of that place mentally and see myself through the appropriate lens, through the appropriate goggles, if you will. And it made me sad for her. But furthermore, I went down to the comment section, and this is where the outrage came in. This is where the disgust came in with social media, and just the genuine ridiculousness of people not feeling that people are entitled to feelings, that people are entitled to have issues just because you think they look perfect. I do believe Megan Fox, I think, is quite polarizing. I think maybe not Kardashian level, but more so recently, I do think she gets a lot of media attention, hate or love. She gets a lot of it, which keeps her very relevant, very popular. So I do just find she's polarizing. People are one extreme or the next when it comes to discussing her. Scrolling into the comments, I wanted to share some of these with you and just my genuine feelings about some of this stuff as I was reading it. I also did put a post on my Instagram, and I will share some of your thoughts and opinions as well. But underneath this, one person writes, respectfully, she's the last person I want to hear that from. Respectfully, why is that? Why is that? Do you think anyone chooses to have body dysmorphia? No, they don't. And just because someone is thinner than most, has giant boobs, all the things that look perfect or maybe ideal in society, it doesn't mean that she loves her body. So why are you sitting here that she's the last person you want to hear that from? I don't quite understand that. Someone writes, respectfully, no one asked you. I love that comment. All of a sudden, she's just dealing with body dysmorphia. Sorry, just screams attention. This is the shit that pisses me off, that we are not allowed to struggle as women. Any of us can struggle. I don't care if you're big, small, tall, round, celebrity, homeless on the street. We can all struggle, and we have to quit judging people based on how we think their life looks, how that package looks on the outside, that they are not struggling. That is one of the most damaging things that we can do. And as someone that worked in mental health for nearly all my career, I have so much experience with this, and I think I'm maybe more aware and sensitive to others due to working with people who are so mentally ill and needing help. But it's like, I don't understand why people can assume that someone isn't struggling. All right, so someone, let's see. There's some good comments here too. They go both ways on the post. Someone writes, honestly, that's so real of her to say. You can feel so uncomfortable in your own skin, but there is someone out there wishing they could look like you or have your life. Then this other person writes, I needed a good laugh today. I never love my body. 2 seconds later, who wants to see me naked? I just can't. So a lot of these comments along that line regarding her, I don't know why she said, want to see me naked. Did she pose in Playboy? I'm not sure, but being in Swimsuit Illustrated, you're wearing a bikini. That's not asking people to see you naked. Next, you're assuming because she shows off her body that she loves her body. Both things can happen at the same time and not be the same. You can show off your body and absolutely not love your body because, again, going back to body dysmorphia, you are not seeing yourself the way others see you. So just because someone has body dysmorphia, that doesn't mean that they would choose to never wear a swimsuit. It doesn't mean that they're going to dress up in the sweatpants head to toe and keep their body covered. So that is an inaccurate perception of what body dysmorphia is. Just because you have that does not mean you won't show off your body. And not for nothing, but let's go back to the fact that she is a celebrity. And she even stated what a better time for her to do this. I think she just turned 37. Good point in her career. It was an honor for her to do it. Does it mean she was comfortable doing that shoot? Probably not. She probably wasn't. She had someone styling her. She had someone doing the full glam on her. Who knows how they photoshopped her? I'm sure there's a lot of factors that go into it, but just because someone decides to show off their body doesn't mean they're comfortable in it. I know that firsthand from my bodybuilding experience and have seen it with a lot of women that sometimes even the women that show off their body the most are actually the least secure in their body and have a higher prevalence of body dysmorphia, believe it or not. This next guy writes, tell me more about how you crave attention. Why is this all craving attention? I don't think Megan Fox needs to claim body dysmorphia to get herself attention. She's got quite a bit of attention right now just with her and MGK. I feel they're very in the media, their relationship. I don't think she needed to claim this for more attention or to get a headline. What's next here? Right. Pretty sure if you had body dysmorphia, you wouldn't be walking around in public half naked. LOL. This is coming from a woman. This is coming from another woman. I think this is awful. I would, in a way, almost expect it from guys, but from women, so disappointing. So disappointing. And another woman writes, extremely relatable, but it's a mindset and a work in progress. I do agree with that. It is something that can be fixed with a lot of work. But unfortunately, I do feel like the odds are stacked against her being in the celebrity spotlight. Another woman writes, I think every single woman has this. I don't know that I would say every single woman has this, but I would say it is pretty common, probably more common than people realize. This comment section is a dumpster. All of these people, women nonetheless, attacking another woman, speaking up about mental health. Shame on all of you. I'm hearting this comment right now. That is amen to that. Sure, don't act like it. If you don't like it, you don't flaunt it. That's not true. That is not true. I have to tell you, I was probably at my deepest place with body dysmorphia when I was in bodybuilding prep. And let me just take you back here a minute. When I was in bodybuilding, because I did it for a while, I started before it got really popular. I started before Instagram was really super popular, when everything was just at our fingertips. So I started it and started documenting everything on Instagram and YouTube early on into this whole social media thing. And I remember posting pictures of like ab selfies and things like that as I was getting leaner and figuring out my bodybuilding competition look, and getting feedback from that from other people, good and bad, but people thinking I was attention seeking. And quite honestly, I was the most uncomfortable and insecure in my body during the beginning of my bodybuilding stages when I was prepping. And that was probably when I was my leanest, maybe weighed the least, when people would look at me and just assume, oh, she has it all, must be nice to be that skinny, you know, you're so lucky, those types of comments. And honestly, those are the types of comments that are so harmful, and they are inaccurate. They are incorrect. So I just want to point out, you never know what someone's going through. You don't. And you cannot judge someone by the outside. And if you are, take a moment to check yourself, because the odds are what you are doing is projecting your own shit onto that person. So the next time you want to go troll on someone for how their body looks, or choices that maybe they're making, or things they're speaking up about that don't impact you, ask yourself why you're feeling called to write those comments. Where is that coming from? Maybe take a minute here. And I know my following is, you guys follow me for a reason, so you're probably mostly on the same page with me. I don't know. But I still thought it warranted discussing this. Someone wrote, makes a lot of sense. She's completely changed how she's looked in the past 10 years. Now, that could be so. I don't want to necessarily say just because someone's changed the way they look, they have body dysmorphia. I've personally changed the way I've looked, not due to body dysmorphia. But, you know, I'm sure she's had a decent amount of work done. Again, maybe that's more so due to the demands of celebrity status in Hollywood, trying to get jobs. She went through a divorce. I think she has 3 kids. Maybe she just wanted that shit done too. It doesn't necessarily mean one equals the other. You know what I'm saying? This comment too, is this from a woman? I don't know, because of course their profile photo is a kitty. So I'm not sure. You surely have a problem then. What a ridiculous thing to say. There are people every day fighting their weight, and you have the nerve to whine about your body. Lady, you are a joke. That one hits home for me. Seriously, that one is what really aggravates me the most. And that's the one that gets me, because I will say, how do I say this correctly? The body positivity movement, I think, is a great thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a thing that is needed in this world. At the same time, and I know I'm going to be called out like, oh, the poor thin girl or something, but it has made someone like myself feel like we are able to speak out about having our own issues and our own struggles. And I just don't think that's fair to say. I don't think that's fair to say. I don't think I'm sitting here lucky. I came from a family where obesity was a real issue, and I think sometimes that was a bit of a separation, why people were so commending to me for being tiny, because my sister struggled with her weight growing up. I did a video with her a while back on her weight loss journey, but you know, she struggled with her weight as a kid, and then her little sister was the teeny tiny one, always being praised. How do you think that probably fucked us both up at a young age? And that's to no one's fault. I'm not saying it's anyone in particular's fault. It was just the world and it is the world we're living in. We are praised for being small, for being skinny at any cost. I had some of you commenting that you could be sick. You could be going through some shit and you lost a bunch of weight, and people are like, you look great. How'd you do it? And I've heard people say, no, I was really sick. Yeah, well, you look great though. Like, what? What is going on? We are not thinking about what we are talking about and how damaging it is. So on the opposite side of things, it's felt like just because you're someone who is thin or looking like Megan Fox, you have no fucking right to talk about struggling? Excuse me? So she has no right because others would kill to be her weight. She has no right to struggle? Like she's choosing to struggle? The math isn't mathin' for me on this one. It does not make sense to me. I don't think it's fair to minimize mental health, and certain people should not be gatekeeping that. Like only certain people, only heavier people can feel bad about their bodies. You thin people can't feel bad about your bodies. Guess what? Some of us didn't choose it. Do you think I wanted to be so consumed with my body and my food choices and restricting for such a long period of my life? Do you think I wanted that? And I'm not trying to play victim or anything like that. I get it. There's way bigger fucking issues in this world. I get that. I'm not comparing these issues to that. What I'm saying is body dysmorphia can happen to anyone. Open your eyes. Mental health impacts all of us. So quit acting like body weight is the end all be all to happiness. And just because someone looks like they are in a perceived perfect body, that they are not allowed to struggle. That is just so ignorant on so many levels. Okay, any other good comments here? She needs Jesus, someone writes, cry me a river. Another person writes, yeah, okay. She sure doesn't dress like she has body dysmorphia. Coming from a woman, again, I've never known that body dysmorphia necessarily lent itself to dressing a certain way. I'm only speaking from my personal experience here, but when I was going through the thick of it, it didn't change how I dressed. I would still, in the summertime, wear a tank top and shorts. And you better believe I could not stop obsessing 75% of my day thinking that my thighs weren't small enough and thinking about ways that I needed to try to mitigate that. Eat less, work out more, do this, do that. It didn't stop me from dressing a certain way. So I'm not sure where that concept is coming from. Someone writes, so you're mentally ill. Got it. Get off social media and hire a therapist. Actually, she wasn't on social media. This was an interview she did as part of her job to make a living, and it was posted to social media. So maybe you need to educate yourself. Yeah, someone writes, to any and all dick fucks making fun of her, try living with BDD, which is body dysmorphia disorder. It is an actual disorder. You wouldn't last a day. Agree to that. Unfortunately, the trash comments go on and on and on, and I noticed these comments have continued to get worse since I had even saw that post. So I threw it up on my stories because I'm always open to learning. I'm always open to other people's feedback, but I also want to be real and be a voice for people. So I quickly put up a post saying I was outraged with the comments, and as someone who's struggled with that myself, I don't understand where women are coming from commenting those types of things on that post. So I did throw that up and I asked for you all to respond. That was over on my Instagram story. So most of you, I feel like, reciprocated my feelings towards this, and I did just want to share a couple of your comments. I'm going to keep these anonymous just to be safe. Anyone can suffer from body dysmorphia. This breaks my heart and fills me with rage. You don't have to look a certain way to have body dysmorphia. That's absolutely correct. Someone writes, she's been sexualized since she was 15. Of course, that trauma impacts her. That very well could be as well. People obviously don't even understand what body dysmorphia means. That's honestly most of the people commenting, I don't think understand it. And the women commenting like that obviously have never gone through it, or else they would get it. Seems like a lot of people were judging showing it off as some type of proof that she couldn't also struggle with body dysmorphia, which is, it seemed like that was the correlation because she wears tight dresses or bikinis that she can't have body dysmorphia, and that's just not the case, friends. We need to have a better understanding for these types of things and just be more cautious with our words for how we're handling this type of stuff. Or maybe let me do you one better. Let's just not even comment on women's bodies then. Why do you need to comment about it? Just let it be. Even if it was her discussion opening up about it, let it go. Just keep on scrolling, pass it by. Just because society puts people on a pedestal doesn't make them exempt from feeling bad about themselves. So that's the other thing too. I just don't think people have much empathy for celebrities or people of certain status. I think people just assume, oh, poor me, so sad, just because you have money and you have status and you're a celebrity, that life is perfect. I don't understand how we don't not know this now by 2023, after the amount of celebrities we've seen deal with drug addiction, deal with suicide, deal with mental health issues. Come on, no one is exempt from mental health issues. And so the bottom line here is you don't know what people are going through ever. And you also don't know what it's taken a person to look or be a certain way when it comes to those physical aesthetic things that you see on the outside. You don't know what it's taken someone to look a certain way. So we also need to quit judging people that they're lucky or it must be nice or I wish this or I wish that, because you never know what is happening behind the scenes. You don't know if it meant they were super sick or if they were struggling with an eating disorder and lost weight in a super unhealthy way. We continue to commend and commend and commend the skinny and have this bad understanding of what it all means. And at the end of the day, honestly, just stop worrying about what other people are doing and how they're doing it and focus on yourself. Everyone and anyone can struggle. I don't think being a certain weight necessarily comes easy for most people. Maybe there's the genetically blessed people that have high metabolisms, but even on that end of the spectrum, people with high metabolisms can struggle to want to gain weight. I've worked with a lot of people like that too, who wish they weren't considered the skinny, tall person growing up and got a lot of bullying for that too. So there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes with how it impacts our mental health when it comes to body weight, when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to the package that we see on the outside. And we just need to be better humans. We need to be kinder. We need to either just keep it moving and not respond, or take the time to have a better understanding that each and every person most likely has their own battles, has their own issues with mental health, has their own demons, has their own things that they struggle with that they may not be upfront about, that you may not know about. So let's just be kinder, shall we? I'm sure Megan Fox doesn't give two shits about what people posted on that Instagram feed, but it really did strike a chord with me, and I noticed it struck a chord with many of you. I had so many people that had reached out, so I just wanted to do this video to bring some attention to this, that at the end of the day, body dysmorphia can impact anyone. It can. So something to consider as you're sitting there lusting over other people who you think are perfect and happy and have it all figured out. They may really not. So just keep that in mind. That's going to be it for me in this video, friends. If you enjoy these types of discussions, be sure to let me know in the comments, hit that like button, make sure you are subscribed before you head on out of here, and I will see you in the next video.